speaking of a game that I would also love to see some more content from, Red Dead Redemption, right? So we ended up finding out about that this week. Turns out that Red Dead Redemption is going to be releasing on PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch. However, there's a little bit of a caveat, right? So info that was reported on comicbook.com by Cade Onder. This new version is being referred to as a conversion rather than a remaster or remake. It's largely the 2010 game that we know, but it's now available on Nintendo Switch, PS4, as well as PS5 through back compat. With seemingly an extra layer of polish to ensure that it's utilizing the hardware, supposedly. We'll see what that actually looks like when this thing comes out, right? Because it kind of sounded like it was going to be pretty much like the game just on those systems without really much past that. I get a little nervous with this though because we saw that GTA trilogy pack that came out a few years ago, right? And if this isn't even supposed to be on that level, which was not great, but if this isn't even supposed to be on that level, makes me a little nervous. Like, what are we talking about when we talk
Hmm.
about an extra layer of polish?
Uh,
Crazy. You obviously are bursting at the brim with news. What's up?
Here's the thing, though.
What you
I,
got?
I I did play, recently, and Sourblow has played the first one recently too. And to be honest, it does not play bad though. I mean, if it gets a good polish and it plays the same, if it still feels good. The controllers feel good still. I just hope they add more cool stuff. Like more side missions and stuff like that. Especially since
They're
they're paying
not.
$50. But
They're not. So I'm glad you actually brought that up. And obviously, I'll loop you guys into this as we go. But Take Two's CEO actually came out and defended Red Dead Redemption's release and the costs, specifying that it was a commercially accurate price, is how he phrased it. This game is releasing at $49.99 is what we're going at. So 13 years old for $49.99, and it's not going to have a bunch of extra content. It is going to have the extra content. So we're going to end up seeing the content that had been released, like the undead and all that stuff. Like we'll see, I think those 2 DLC packs that came out, but we're not going to see a bunch of new content. It sounds like. So if you're hoping for like the ultimate edition that's going to come with a bunch of extra stuff we haven't already seen in the past, it does not look like that's what we're going to be finding. Sour. I don't think they gave us the specs, and maybe I just missed it. But I think, well, actually, I think I remember them saying at some point during this chaos that this one that's coming in is actually going to be sitting at the stock 30 frames per second, and I think 1080p as well. What are your thoughts on that? And how how much of a bargain for folks on Xbox side is it the fact that they can just pop in their existing disc if they're in the ecosystem and play it with an upgraded version via the back compat and the upgrade performance that they did a few years ago for the back compat?
Yes. Um, well, I'm not. I'm not gonna directly, blame Take Two or like, anyone else because they're not getting the 60 FPS version, because this is something that Microsoft kind of prepared, and they did a very good job at basically with the FPS boost and all that for retro. You know, uh, Not retro for back
backwards compatible.
backwards compatible. Thank you, crazy.
Yeah, Louis,
so
get out.
so that's something it's a very good, nice feature, especially if you want to play those games that you miss. I think the big problem and the big issues is the price. The price is very high for a game that's isn't it a 360 game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, of
So
which Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, so no, so basically, for you're paying almost full price because that game, I'm assuming it released at $60 because we didn't had
Correct.
$70 games at that
Yep.
time. So it's only $10 cheaper for an old game. You're not even getting, like a frame boost, which people have been, destroying other games for not playing at 60. And then you have a
Mm.
much older game that, you know, should be probably running at 60. And then you're paying, that high of an amount. That kind of sucks, but I'm
I
glad
am
that oh,
I am
just to
so happy that you brought that up actually about the value proposition.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you right off because Strauss Zelnick actually stated that Red Dead Redemption was a great standalone game on its own, as well as Undead Nightmare. So two separate things, right? Perfect, like great standalone games in their own right when they were originally released. So we feel like it's a great bundle for the first time and certainly a great value for consumers. What do you think about that one? I mean, the thing is, I don't disagree with him. This game is great. This game still holds up really well, even on a non-modified version, non-updated version. This game is still really good. But man, I feel like he's slinging some real BS trying to justify that $50 price range, and it hurts a little bit to hear. What's your take on that one?
I mean, again, like I am happy that more people get to play it because at the end of the day, that's always good. Apparently for some it's not, but it's always good when more people get to play a game. But I do feel at the same time that the price is the issue, and
Yeah.
this also happens with like other games. Like for example, I feel like and not to throw shades, but like a game like Ratchet and Clank, for example, that a lot of people feel it's a good game,
Hmm.
but you releasing it 2, 3 years later on PC and then having such a high price, it doesn't really like that's probably why it didn't sell as good because like the
Uh,
when you see like it's not like sure like Nintendo games they don't lose value but it's kind of always been like that and you have to buy it at that price. So if Nintendo games were to release on PC or other platforms and they have that same price, in a way it will be more justifiable because like the other guys are still paying that amount. But when
Hmm.
you have a game like Red Dead Redemption, let's go back to the topic, and it costs how much does it cost on the Xbox store right now?
right now, I checked. It was $30. The price is 30
Yep.
bucks. It was
So
30 bucks right now.
so you're paying
20 more.
$20 extra.
Paying paying a premium for one that's not even like an
Yes.
updated version, which is kind of a tough pill to swallow
What?
for fans, right? Like they felt like it's kind of a waste the fact because like they had hoped for something more significant. Um, a little bit up in arms, and I can't blame them, right? Because it is a 13-year-old game at $50. Generally, nowadays, it feels like the PC games when we see a release on
Hmm.
console or whatever, you're seeing a $50 to $60 price point. So the fact that this is coming out at almost like a brand new, newly released game cost is not the greatest thing. That being said, you and I both know, well, all three of us know, that thing will sell like gangbusters nonetheless. I think the first game ended up selling like 14 million copies or something, which compared to like a Grand Theft Auto is not that much. But
Let
that's
me go.
still, I mean, for something that you literally didn't put like
Yeah,
any extra work into or very minimal work, like your return on investment is probably
but
insane on
but you
that
see
game.
It
that's
sold 23 million copies by
23, sorry.
yeah 20 by
Okay.
2021.